Happy Friday.
We made it.
So,
I love it. I love Friday. I love the energy on Friday. I love the energy on Thursday.
I know. I was like jazzed today.
Yes,
like I was
me too.
ready. Yeah.
Well, let's tell everyone why you're so jazzed today. It's a big day for you,
I know.
Collin.
I finally get to go see a doctor and figure out what is going on with my knee.
Yay!
It's gotten better. Like this week, we have seen leaps and bounds improvement. I don't have to wear the brace. I should be probably, but I don't have to wear it as much.
Yeah.
So we
hopefully
consider
everything
that a
goes
win.
well, and hopefully you get some answers.
I know. It's been a while. Like I'm hoping we're just like
It's
done.
good. You're
We're
done.
good. Maybe give it another week. I don't know.
But you're feeling better, and I think
feeling
that's
so
a
much
good
better.
sign. So I'm rooting for you in a couple hours when you go to that appointment. But this weekend, it's going to rain tonight. So if you have any evening plans, try to get them done earlier. But this weekend should be beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to it.
I know.
Excited.
Yeah, right. So, I don't
Okay.
know. The big story of the day.
Let's
it is
do
day
the hard
2.
right turn
Yeah,
that
I know.
we always
There's
have
no
to do.
good pivot. The big story of the day. It is day 2 in the
Yeah.
trial of Jason Mead, his second trial. So yesterday we had the opening statements. Today is our first round of witnesses in this. So yesterday we opened up with the state prosecution, the special prosecutor, Tim Merkel, who is representing the state as the special prosecutor in this case. He talked for about an hour, and that is what we were able to bring you, part of the very first section of his comments of this. So this is about a minute and a half of that, of what he is arguing and what will kind of set the stage for what we'll see in the state's prosecution of this.
6 shots in the back. That's what this case boils down to. 6 shots in the back. He drives by a heating and cooling van that we now know was driven by a fellow by the name of Chris Korn. And he drives by Officer Rosser, who is the third vehicle in line, who is coming up behind. We'll hear from Chris Korn. He recalls this. He didn't see a gun. I think his description was that he saw Casey with his hands on the wheel, and I think he characterized it as it was like he was dancing in his seat. Dancing in his seat. Maybe listening to music. Past Officer Rosser. You hear from Officer Rosser. He didn't see anything. Only Mr. Mead saw a gun.
So also in those opening statements from the special prosecutor, Tim Merkel, he went in depth about the location of the house where Goodson was shot on the porch and then, fell into the kitchen of his grandmother's home. So he really showed the jurors a whole layout of all of that. And then the jurors actually went to the location. They had a little field trip yesterday to go check that out.
Right. And they did this after their lunch break. So Merkel spoke for about an hour. And then we also heard from the defense attorney, who is Caitlin Stevens. There's going to be 2 defense attorneys that we're going to hear from for most of this case. So we're going to hear from, Caitlin Stevens is who, did all of the opening remarks yesterday. Mark Collins is also an attorney that's involved in this. So, she talked for about an hour, 15 minutes. And we couldn't bring that to you. She talked after we wrapped up the big picture yesterday. But here is where she stands. Here's what she argued yesterday, and she really focused on some of the past. What she brought up and what you're going to hear here is a reference to not that day, but some either social media video or pictures of things posted by Goodson in the past.
Yeah, and she touched on Jason Mead's experience as a Marine and just an officer being trained in that way. So listen.
A photo of Mr. Goodson in a car. You can see the headrest pointing a gun while he's in the driver's side seat. I'm not saying that was from December 4th of 2020. But what we are saying is that this behavior that Jason Mead saw, the same behavior that Jason Mead saw on December 4th of 2020 is not the behavior of a lawful CCW permit holder. And neither is this.
So she went on in her opening statements, just describing how Jason Mead's a Marine. He's a trained officer. He knows what to look for when looking. His eye is trained for like he can identify a gun. And so she kind of went in depth about that. And then she also said, which I thought was very interesting in her opening argument, that someone doesn't have to like basically have a gun to their head to feel like their life is in danger.
Right.
So that was a point that she really hit home as well. And again, we are monitoring the live stream currently in the courtroom. And once that testimony starts, we'll tap into it here and there.
Right. We
throughout
expect, we expect this. The judge was pretty adamant yesterday that he wants this to begin at 9 a.m. I've got a deadline right now coming out of the courtroom. They should start this here momentarily, though. So, as we've talked about time and time again, this is the second trial because the first trial ended in February 2024 in a mistrial, and that's because the jury couldn't come up to a decision. Now, we did learn a little bit more yesterday about what the jurors were asked. We know the makeup of the jurors as well. So we've got the juror, the questionnaire form in here. The big focus was, how do some of these jurors feel about things like AirPods? Because that's been a part of this case because Casey Goodson Jr. had AirPods in. How do they feel about concealed carry weapons? Because that's also been a fact in this case because we know that the gun was found on the floor in his grandmother's kitchen because we know that when Goodson was shot, he fell into the kitchen. And there was a gun also found there. We do know that he had a concealed carry permit. The family has never refuted that he could have been carrying a gun at the time. So that's going to be a big factor of this case. We also know the makeup of this case. What is it?
So it's 9 women and 3 men. And then there's 4 alternates.
Right.
So there's a total of 12 jurors that are, the juror number was large. It started out with a pool of 120.
Yeah.
Then they really had to narrow it down. But again, both sides are trying to avoid this resulting in another mistrial because that would
because
not
we
be.
don't want to do this
has been
a third
6 years
time.
in the making. So that's why, like you just touched on, they were answering questions about how they feel about AirPods
and it took
concealed
days
weapons.
because we started jury selection.
Like 2 weeks? 2 weeks
It
ago?
was last week. But it was, it took us until, really this week to get this jury seated because, as we've seen on cases very similar to this one in the past of how hard it is to get a jury that doesn't already have preformed opinions.
Right.
And we've talked over and over again why, it's kind of shocking that at this point in this case, 6 years later, with all of the coverage, that
this hasn't been moved out of Franklin County.
Why, that this isn't being done in Cleveland or Cincinnati or Dayton.
Yeah.
And
the reason why there's this back and forth with this about, different accounts of what happened and what led up to this fatal shooting is because Jason Mead was not wearing a body camera at the time.
And,
so there's a lot of questions.
Right. And that was kind of brought up in some of the opening statements yesterday that we heard later in the day that because he was kind of done for the day. We know that some of the background of Jason Mead on this is that he was up there in that neighborhood doing some warrant work for the U.S. Marshals Service. He was trying to serve a warrant up there, wasn't able to serve the warrant, couldn't find the person that it was directed towards. Casey Goodson Jr. was not the target of that warrant. It was somebody else. So anyway, it was brought up in the opening statements that because the work for the day was done, everything had been basically taken off. Like it was done. But then also this also predates the Franklin County Sheriff's Office mandating body cameras. So that predated that. They do now. Franklin County Sheriff's Office does wear body cameras. So there was a few things that have been
again because this was 6 years ago. This has been a really long time.
And
coming.
There's a lot that's changed in law enforcement in that time. 6 years ago, this was 2020. Late 2000, because this was December 2020, like December 4th. So I was gonna say, I was like, this is pre everything, but this was right in the height of the pandemic, and we saw a lot of changes happen that year.
In the last trial, Mead took the stand. We haven't heard from his attorneys if that's going to happen again this time around. So we'll keep watching this. So again, testimony is going to start relatively soon here. We hope we're monitoring that. And,
And so, if you want to watch that trial, we'll have a live stream of that all day long, of everything out of that courtroom. We're covering it gavel to gavel. Lacey Crisp is in that courtroom for us. But if you're interested in watching that all day long, you can catch that here on 10 TV Plus. It's one of the drop downs. If you navigate through the menu, you can watch that for free right here on 10 TV Plus. Tell your friends about it. There's a QR code there as well to share. So, well, continuing, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back on the back side of this.
We got Tyvis.
Yeah, Tyvis
I'll
should
go
be in
grab
here.
him. I got to go get him out of
Otherwise-
the sports department.
Yeah, he's busy. He's very busy, obviously, with the draft.
And he's tired. He only got 3 hours
this
of sleep
man-
because
this
he
man
was
does
in
not stop
Cleveland
running.
last night for the draft. So he'll be right back
be right
with
back.
us. All right, welcome back to The Big Picture. Tyvis Powell here with us. How are you feeling?
Hey,
are you
Tyvis.
awake this morning?
You know, I'm actually doing a lot better than
Good.
I thought I would be.
Hey,
yeah.
we'll
Getting
take it.
like 3 to 4 hours of sleep is not ideal, but we're gonna power through it. You know, you gotta be extra enthusiastic, or you will kind of fall asleep. So therefore, I'm ready to go.
When did you get home from Cleveland last night?
Yesterday, I got back to my house at about 12:35-ish. My alarm went off at 4:45.
That's rough.
So
Wow.
yeah, there we go. Yeah. But
Okay,
you know
well,
what?
you have a great nap
can't-
looking ahead.
You can't tell. You can't tell. I've been really doing well today. So
What were some of your highlights from yesterday? Being in Berea, being
Yeah.
with the Browns. What were your best takeaways?
So it's always cool because you always know when something's going to happen, because in Berea, how they do it is the draft room is right next to the radio room. So you always see like 20 people just flying past. So you got to see AB and Ty Monken and them going in the rooms. I'm like, oh, well, they're about to make a pick or something's about to happen. So that's always the coolest part. But outside of that, once the player gets drafted, they call in to us and we get to interview him and talk to him. And listening to Spencer Fano, like, he was so excited and he's so passionate. We got to asking him a question about Joe Thomas, and he like almost broke down in tears because he was like, I love Joe Thomas. I'm so excited to get to learn from Joe and stuff like that. So I was really fired up just listening to those guys on those interviews.
And let's talk about the Buckeyes.
Woo,
oh my
man.
gosh,
4
four
or
of them in
5
the top
gone
12.
in the top 12.
Top 11.
Top 11, yeah.
First time since like 1960 something or something like that.
Yeah,
Wow.
So
it's crazy.
Yeah, no, it was crazy because Cardinal Tate went first to Tennessee. I was kind of sad as a Browns fan because obviously a lot of Browns fans wanted us to get a wide receiver. But I really think that's a really good spot for him. You know, you get Cam Ward. They ended up getting Wan'Dale Robinson in free agency, so he got some help there. But I like the fact that they paired him with a quarterback that's really good, as is supposed to take that next step this year. And now you got an explosive weapon like Cardinal Tate. So I was happy for him. The Arvell Reese slide, I told y'all yesterday, I think he's going to slide a little bit. I don't think he's going to go 2. So where would it be? He went 5th to the Giants. It was a little, I didn't think he would go to the Giants because the Giants for the past couple of years, they took Kayvon Thibodeau, who plays at DN. Last year they took Abdul Carter, who also is an edge rusher. And then you're adding Arvell Reese to that. So it was kind of awkward. I got to see how they're going to put that all together. But if they figure it out, obviously they got a really good player there. Sonny Styles to the Commanders. That has been something that Dan Quinn has loved him the entire process.
Yeah.
They said if Sonny Styles is available, we're taking Sonny Styles. So that was no shocker. And then obviously Caleb Down going to Dallas. I love that for him. I played in Dallas. Dallas has been trying to get their defense back. He's going to be a pivotal piece in that. He joins Malik Hooker, who's another Buckeye safety there. So should be really good for him.
And our Nicole Sharon spoke to some of the players right after they got selected. Take a listen.
Talked a lot with John Harbaugh. How excited are you to play for a coach like that?
I'm very excited for it. And not only did I talk to him there, on my 30th visit, we had a long talk, like a long, real good talk. So yeah, I'm very excited to play for him.
It's a blessing. You know, we shed blood, sweat, and tears together. So to be able to experience this, the highs of highs right now, it's awesome.
They're so excited. But like you said, Tyvis, you've been saying it this week. The work is just getting started.
Oh, yeah. You did all that to get to this point, and now it's about what are you going to do to stay? Because if you're a first-round pick, people are expecting a lot out of you, and they've made a huge investment in you. So hopefully that these guys go to a good spot where that utilizes their strengths the best. Like an Arvell Reese, you know, if you're going to use him as a traditional linebacker, are you really getting the best value out of him? You know, he's a guy that I like to give an example of. He played under Jim Knowles, and he also played under Matt Patricia. He didn't play a lot under Jim, but he wasn't as effective as he was with Matt Patricia. So it's very interesting of how they're going to utilize him to get the most out of him. So hopefully the Giants do that. And Caleb Downs, another guy, he can play multiple positions. Are they going to just take him and stick him in the post? Because if that's the case, you're not really getting the most out of him. You got to really utilize him by moving him around. So those are two guys that I'm very excited to see how their careers go.
Yeah. Okay. Let's pull up their outfits.
I was like, this is something that you're obsessed with.
It's fun because you guys, we're always talking about doom and gloom. I want to lighten the mood a little bit.
I like Cardinals. Cardinal had,
look at this.
He had his mother and I think his sister's names was sewn inside. He had the chill chain.
What is that? What does that
That must be
mean?
That must be his
chill?
nickname, I guess. Chill. I like it
Love
though.
it.
I like the little, you know, it's not a full suit and all of that.
The purple.
He had his
Love
whole
it.
family inside of his
I know.
suit.
We have a picture of
family
it. Yeah.
portraits and stuff.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
it was
coming
sharp.
up.
They did their thing. I was proud of them.
There it is. Oh,
I like
that's so
the
sweet.
matching fits.
It
you
was
know.
nothing too outlandish that people gonna be like, "What is that?" I thought they all cleaned up.
Well, because
pretty
we saw the ones from yesterday
Yes.
that were, you know.
There was always one person. I don't think I really seen the outfit yesterday where I was like scratching my head.
Same.
Like, you did
I felt
too
like
much.
here's Arvell Reese.
With
He
the
had Reese's.
Reese's.
I felt like they all looked classy and they looked good. They were repping Ohio State very, very well.
That right there, that's GQ right there.
Yeah.
That's pretty slick.
He always suited and booted.
Suited and booted. The SS. I love it. So fun. Well, they looked great.
Yeah,
Congratulations to all those players.
Right. And I mean, now we're on day 2.
Caden McDonald is staying in Pittsburgh. He didn't get his name called in the first round, unfortunately, but they're going to let him walk the stage when he goes. Hopefully he goes this next round, this upcoming round. He's going to walk the stage, which is still a cool experience. That's usually what they do. If guys go and don't get called in the first round, they usually stick around and they let him walk the stage the next day. So it's still an exciting moment for him.
Absolutely.
What do you expect in the second round?
Well, I expect him to go pretty early. You know, defensive tackles is an important position. You look at some of those teams that early on, they're probably going to do that. The Giants, I believe, have an early pick, and they got rid of Dexter Lawrence, so they have a need there at defensive tackle. Maybe Caden McDonald is the guy that they go with, but love to see that. Max Clare is a name that we might hear in the second round as well, but hopefully some more Buckeyes, just lots and lots of more Buckeyes.
we'd like
the
to see
league
Buckeyes.
is a better place when you have Buckeyes in it.
Well, let's just, I mean, this is the best recruiting turning point for Ryan Day.
Yeah, Ryan Day
Like,
came out and
come
said,
on.
if you're coming to Ohio State, you have to be a first or second rounder.
Right.
You have 4 guys go in the first round,
Yeah.
so
Pretty
the
good
message
selling
is
point.
loud
Yeah.
and clear.
Good standings
Absolutely.
there. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Tyvis, well, have a good weekend.
Y'all as well. I
Yeah.
appreciate y'all.
Rest
and get
up.
some sleep.
What is that?
100%.
Yeah.
Sleep is for the weak.
That's what I say. That's what I say. We'll be right back.
We'll be right back. Oh, welcome back on this Friday. It's gorgeous outside.
I know. And guys, we have a special guest with us. Hi, Hank. Hi. Look at this face, you guys. Can you see it, camera 3? There we go. Mark Vick with the founder of Mutts & Co. joining us right now. You guys have a really special adoption event happening this Saturday at your Dublin location right off Sawmill. He wants to get down. It's okay.
He's okay. Yeah.
Tell us
very
about
exciting.
it. What is it? And like, there's people from all over the country that are coming for this event. Explain it to us.
So we've always been like a big proponent of like kind of the local community supporting our rescues and shelters around here, and so we do a lot with the central Ohio area. But this is a really, really special one. We had a group out of Hondros, Texas, reach out to us. They're called Tracy's Paws Rescue. They rescue dogs from shelters and streets throughout the Texas area, and then they find adoptable homes. They pre-screen and pre-adopt these dogs, then drive them to a set location somewhere in the United States. It rotates every few months. And they reached out to us and said, would we be willing to be kind of the destination where all of these parents, these families would meet their pet for the very first time.
And how long have some of these families been waiting to meet their forever pet?
They've been taking applications for months.
Wow. Yeah.
So there's 18 dogs that are coming, right? They're probably in transit right now,
Yeah, they're probably
somewhere
on their
in
way.
between Texas and Dublin, Ohio.
Wow.
And all those families are coming. Last year we had people come from all the way from Massachusetts, Maryland, Iowa, Indiana. They all came just to meet their pet, their forever pet, here for the very first time in
And
our
we have
store.
some photos from the event last year. And Mark, you were telling me on when we were going back and forth emailing, this is really emotional for some families. Why do you think?
Oh, it's incredible. I mean, the way it's set up, they line up and they wait their turn, and then someone comes from around the corner, out from behind the truck, and brings them the dog that's going to spend the rest of their life with them. And in fact, I didn't mention this one to you, but there is a family that has children, and they have not told their children what is happening. They don't know. They just are coming on a family vacation to
Dublin,
Ohio. And when they're standing in that line, they're going to find out that from inside that little van is going to come a dog that they're going to take home with them.
That is
so
awesome.
it's remarkable to sit and watch.
You're being such a good boy, Hank. Yes, you are. We've tried to get Hank to sit on the chair.
Then
but
he's just like, I'm
I want to
done.
go explore Studio B. So you do a lot with adoption efforts here in the community. Why is it so important people choose to adopt and not shop?
I mean, I think it's critical. Our shelters, the different rescue groups, I mean, there are a lot of volunteers. These are operations that pull dogs from being, euthanasia situations. That's where Hank came from.
Really?
He was one day away from being euthanized, and we saw his picture, and his face was just too much for us to take. But there are responsible breeders who do things the right way, but then there are also a lot of dogs and cats, I mean, for that matter, so small animals of all different types that are just overflowing in our shelters. And so I genuinely think, much like Hank here, they are appreciative of the people who save them, who drive from states away to meet them, and the people that are involved with the activities that put all these people together.
So obviously the families that are getting their pets are going to be there at the Dublin location. Do you encourage other people to stop by and see what's going on?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, all of the dogs have been pre-adopted and pre-screened. So we want to make sure that people know, like, I'm going to go and find a dog at the store. We do that often, and we think it's a great thing to do. But this is not that type of event. But to sit and watch, and I think that there was as many dogs as there were people crying last year, and I would expect it to be kind of the same way, whether it's people who are meeting their pet or just sitting and watching it. It's just a very emotional moment, and then we've got some free things for them to do, and they take some pictures, and I think it's just a great way for people in the community to see something that they probably haven't seen before, and it is that first moment when they see each other and the dogs are just appreciative and jump in their arms or get handed over. It's pretty special.
So what time does this all start?
So it all starts, the adoption kind of meet and greet starts at 11 at our Mutts & Co. store on Sawmill Road. They'll be lining up. Apparently, we had people lining up last year at 2 a.m.
Wow.
When they're only going to get their dog. I mean, and they're pre-adopted. It's not like it was like a first come,
They're
first
just so
serve.
excited.
They were that excited. They literally parked and stayed in
That's
the
incredible.
parking lot. So, but people will be lining up and doing the registrations at 9, but then the actual event starts at 11.
Awesome. Mark, thank you so much for coming in today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for bringing our beloved Hank. He's such a good boy.
He missed you, Bryn.
Oh,
he did.
oh,
And
I
he was
missed
nice,
him.
And he told me he was looking forward to meeting you, Collin.
Good.
This dog just is like relaxed in the TV setting, like the lights are on and he just wants to shut his eyes. It's so adorable.
Yeah, not much of a he's not looking for much attention.
Well, he's adorable. Mark, thank you so much for coming in today
you,
and
Bryn.
have fun Saturday.
Thank you.
Awesome. We'll be right back.
All right, welcome back to The Big Picture, coming up on 9:30, and we are continuing to monitor the courtroom there at the Franklin County Court of Common Pleas in the second trial of Jason Meade.
And testimony is about to begin, witness testimony.
Witness testimony. We should hear from the first one. We expect to hear from Goodson's grandmother this morning. However, hearing from Lacey Crisp, they are still not on the record. They're doing a meeting in the judge's chambers currently, jury's meeting with the judges, or judge in the chambers currently. So continuing to monitor that, of course, we'll bring you that as soon as we learn more. You can watch that trial gavel to gavel right here on 10 TV Plus. Just navigate through the menu and that will be there. So we're continuing to monitor that. We'll bring you what we learned by the end of this program.
It'll get started here soon.
Yeah. So anyway, turning topics right now. So right now we are joined by Julia Newland-Murrah, the General Director and CEO of Opera Columbus. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you. Love the opera.
Yes.
We love it. Thank you so much for coming on today. So you guys have a performance of it's La
Traviata.
La Traviata. There we go. I'm not very good at what language is that in?
Italian.
Okay.
But
I don't have an Italian bone in me. So what's going on with that?
Yeah, we're super excited. It's a collaboration with Kappa, the Columbus Symphony, and of course Opera Columbus. It is grand scale, 1930s, Mardi Gras, Paris. And if you've seen the movie Pretty Woman, that's the story.
Oh, that's so I didn't know that.
Yeah,
wow.
It's pretty exciting. So if you like Moulin Rouge, Pretty Woman, anything that's high romance, this is absolutely the opera for you. It's absolutely beautiful.
Okay.
Right, and I know you mentioned it's one of the most popular in
Yes.
the world. So we've got all these references in pop culture. So this is, I think some people think of opera as being things written long time ago, but this is fairly recent.
Yeah, it's very relevant to today, and it's just absolutely heartbreaking. Contrary to both movies, there's a little bit of a plot twist at the end. But any car commercial or Grand Theft Auto, you hear Traviata music. So you definitely heard it before.
Yeah.
I need to go. I need to get my tickets. I'm intrigued.
And obviously it's Opera Columbus, and we're teaming up with Kappa and the Columbus Symphony. This is a great collaboration. Yeah. How did this all come about?
Well, we just enjoy doing like big shows together. So it started 4 years ago. We did a Rigoletto. And then last year we did a really popular West Side Story that was also with Ballet Met. So we just keep growing and growing in our collaborations. And it's really nice to be able to dream together. And next season, actually, we're going to do Pirates, which is a completely new musical from Broadway. And we're super proud of this. Columbus is actually the first city to do it post-Broadway. So it's a really big deal for us as well.
So what else can people expect when going to Opera Columbus?
So we like to say, you're not just joining for a show, but for a community. So if you arrive an hour earlier, we have specialty themed cocktails. There's mask making. There's going to be jazz being played in the lobby as well. So it's more like a party.
Yeah.
And then it really segues nicely into the show itself. And if you think, oh, I don't speak Italian, that's okay, because we have captions. So they're in English. You can follow along. And I like to say this, but like 80% of people who watch Netflix movies turn on their caption. So it's exactly the same feeling.
No, but I do feel like when you're listening to music and, opera in another language, you feel the emotion. So you already kind of know what's going on, even though you don't know Italian like me.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Last night we had our final dress rehearsals, and usually I get goosebumps. But I even on my legs, I was getting goosebumps. So that was a very new feeling. But our leading lady, Aubrey Bellaro, she's just breathtakingly gorgeous. The production is so glamorous. It's just a really good, fun time.
Now, what is your background with opera?
Oh, yes. So I come from the production side of things.
Okay.
So that's why I love the sets, the costumes, the lights, the glitz and glam, if you will. So
Absolutely.
And just incredible artists.
Yeah. So where did the love for it come from? I mean, it's really cool. Like, how did you get involved? How did this all start?
Yeah. Well, the reason why I came to Columbus, actually, because before this I was in Boston, was just the spirit of the Columbus Way, collaboration, that really excited me, because I think opera is really the Olympics of all art forms. It brings everyone together, the artists. But for me, it just started as a kid. I started reading fairy tales and then seeing them on stage, and I just love that the music can transport you.
Absolutely. Can you go in depth a little bit about the training that these singers go through? I mean, it is a muscle, and they learn how to control it to such a degree. It's incredible, but it takes many years to perfect the craft.
I like to say they're athletes, because one thing that most people don't realize is they're unamplified. So their own bodies are their amp, which is pretty incredible. I mean, they start at a very young age, and their voice doesn't develop till they're in their 30s, actually. So it's a really long lifetime commitment, and it's really incredible.
All right. So when we're talking about this show, La Traviata, when is it, and how do I get tickets for it?
Yes. So tickets are on operacolumbus.org. And we have 2 productions because opera takes so much, as we said, strength. So it's on Saturday at 7:30 at the Ohio Theater, as well as on Sunday at 2 o'clock. And of course, please come an hour early and just party with us before the show starts.
This Saturday and Sunday.
Sunday.
Right.
Thank you.
And we love matinees, Collin.
Oh, we do.
Got our name written all over it.
Because it's always, as we lead into the weekend, it's always of like, okay, what's going on this weekend?
Yeah,
what can I do with
There's
the family?
a lot going on.
And I think and that's the other I think important thing to talk about with all of these wonderful productions in Columbus, because I think too many people have this idea of opera of it being a very something that you have to get very dressed up and the kids can't come to, but it's a very welcoming and open environment that you all have created there, that this can be a lovely family experience.
Yes, absolutely. We actually have one of the youngest audiences in the country, so we're very proud of that too.
Wow.
So I think that's something that always catches people off guard.
And if you're anything like me, going to the opera or the ballet is a reason to get dressed up. I love it. I love it.
You can do that too. Yeah, it's
and
really
you all
great.
also just recently talked about your 26-27 season. So I mean, the whole season's now out. We know what's coming up.
Yes.
Is there really a theme that's going on this year?
There is. So for our 45th season, we're doing American icons, so unforgettable stories. And so we're starting with pirates. We're doing Girl of the Golden West, which if you've seen Phantom of the Opera, that's the same music. So Phantom was based on that. And then the one I think everyone's whispering about is Stephen King's The Shining. So they're very excited to see that as an opera.
Whoa. I actually think that would be a great, that would be a fun one, I think, maybe, probably.
Who composed the music for that?
Paul Moravec.
Okay, very interesting. Cool. Well, thank you so much for coming on. We really appreciate
it's a pleasure. All right. So once again, those show times?
Saturday 7:30 and Sunday 2 o'clock.
And tickets are still available.
Yes.
Okay. And you can get them where? I'm asking for myself.
operacolumbus.org.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you so much for coming in.
We'll
Have
be
a
right
great
back.
weekend. welcome back to the big picture.
Welcome back.
I'm over here Googling tickets for the opera.
You should go. You should go.
So
Have your
fun.
husband take you. Be like, we're going.
All right, Jason, you heard Collin say it. You got to take me on a date Saturday or the matinee.
Or the matinee. The matinee, you know, like we said, we like a matinee because we go to bed early.
I know.
Do you like readjust on Fridays and Saturday nights? Like, do you like
like take a nap, like stay up later, basically? It depends. On Fridays, I try to take a nap like you do. Naps are good.
Naps are great.
And then I will stay up later if I can. But honestly, I mean, I get tired around like 8. That is like my latest time I can like stay awake, and I'm like, I gotta go to bed.
If I push past 8, like if I take a little bit longer of a nap and push myself past 8, then it's like that second wind and I'm good.
You're good.
Until like 10 or 11.
I definitely
but then
like
not much past that anymore.
on a Saturday, I have to have like a cup of coffee around like 4 or 5 if I'm gonna like keep going, you know? So
Okay. So another really hard pivot here. We're going to talk about, we're learning more about the driver who was arrested and charged in the crash on I-71. They're just south of the Tanger outlet, or just around the Tanger outlets there at the 3637 exit.
and that happened on April 13th.
Yeah.
And it killed a family of 3, including a 1-year-old baby. And it's we just got the police body camera video in from Delaware County. I just want to preface this with some parts of this that we're going to show might be emotional, but it is public record, which we've requested. And I feel like we need to show the first part of it in its entirety, where police start questioning the semi-truck driver about how this tragedy unfolded. Take a listen.
Nah, you're good. We got 2 fatals. All right. Okay. Okay. Okay, how many vehicles do we have total? Have you counted yet? Not yet? 5? 5 plus? All right.
This black male right here is going to be your semi-truck driver.
Okay. All right. 1306 Delaware, I'm out here. Do you have your ID with you, sir?
I'm sorry, they use different systems than us.
Okay, yeah. Delaware break for a commercial oil.
Okay.
So the man you see here is Modu Ngam. He is the semi-truck driver who is arrested and currently charged in this crash.
Service either. What's a good phone number for you?
614-282-657.
All right. Do you want to just come back here? I'll have you have a seat in my car.
Delaware 106.
Good. Do you want to just have a seat?
If you want to just stay central for
keep your feet. You can keep your feet out. It's crammed in there. So what I'll have you do is I'll have you fill out a statement on kind of what happened. Can you just kind of tell me in your own words on what happened?
Yeah, I think what happened is we were going. You see that, like this construction right here. And then the woman who was driving the car in front of the truck hit the wall. You can see the mud on the wall. It's a red car. Hit the wall and swing in front of the truck. I'm trying to brake the truck. Everybody seen it, and there was some people who was in front of her too. Those people went out of control. Everybody on the road. I'm trying to miss them, but she's stuck in front of the truck.
Do you have a dash camera? I know maybe it's on fire, but
everything burned up.
Okay, all right. I'm just asking these things. Do you have somebody that's gonna be able to come get you?
I'm gonna have to call because that trailer right there has to get out of here.
Okay.
So, for the tow truck.
And we can take you to like a hotel or whatever you need.
I'm from here, Columbus.
What was that?
I live here in Columbus.
You live in Columbus? Oh, okay. Okay. I didn't know if you're a long distance truck driver or not. So, can you write
Yeah, but right now I'm unconscious. If I have my handwriting, you won't be able to read it.
Okay.
I'm unconscious right
Okay.
now.
You can just have a seat there. I'm gonna go get some photos and stuff and see how many
Again, that
other
is,
vehicles we have involved.
One
Okay.
of the law enforcement officers having a conversation with Mr.
Modu and Gom.
And you can hear he's a little shaken up. The officer's asking if he can write, and he's saying he's shaken up after what has just happened. But I want to go to where this takes us today. And Delaware County believes that he was using fraudulent licenses and identification to get his driver's license and CDL license, which is a very concerning thing because it led up to this horrible tragedy. And he came over to America in the 1990s.
Back in the 90s, yeah.
And then he got his driver's license with an ID around 2003, and then he got his CDL in 2007, according to court records. So, yes, we don't know.
Right.
We're still learning more about his identity and what his real identity is and how many he maybe used across the years. So,
with that being said, we're going to pivot real quick.
Okay, is this starting?
It is.
Okay.
So we're now officially back on the record. This is a look inside the courtroom there at the Franklin County Court of Common Pleas. So this is day 2.
Witness testimony starting right now.
Yes, witness testimony starting right now. Waiting to see who they call up first. We're expecting it'll likely be Casey Goodson Jr.'s grandmother.
Mm-hmm. So we will tap in right now. Take a listen. And that is a look at Jason Mead. We're gonna come at it. Yeah, they're
right. There's still
look. There's the judge. Okay. There's a lot of things happening in this legal process.
Right, a lot of moving parts on this. So, yeah, coming up next, we'll have Angela Ann talking about this week in Boomtown. So we'll be right back.
Welcome back to The Big Picture.
Hey.
Joining us, Angela Ann. Hello.
I love coming on Fridays. It's like Fun Friday.
I know.
Yeah.
We get to talk about stuff and then enjoy the weekend.
Absolutely. We're talking about Boomtown. What's coming up tonight?
Lots of stuff. Big news coming out of just the fact that there's so many big builds, right, happening right now. And it was Earth Week or it is Earth Week. Earth Day was Wednesday. So we look really into Amgen, which is in New Albany. And they are expanding like no tomorrow. And they have such a huge footprint. So how does Boomtown meet sustainability? So they took us inside, showed us what they're doing. They've got a solar farm. They have LED lighting. But what's really neat is you think about the medicines that need refrigeration. They're using CO2, carbon dioxide, instead of like normal, typical cooling systems, and it's much more environmentally friendly. So they chose New Albany's campus as the first Amgen building worldwide to use this new type of technology to cool the medicines.
That's so cool.
I know, it's very
Wow.
cool. And it makes you feel better, right? Because when you see these big buildings, you're just thinking the impact on everything. But the environment is such a big part of how these new developments are really looking at how to be good stewards in our community.
Especially with like water concerns as well.
Yeah. And that solar farm, they said it can power, I think, some ridiculous amount of homes, 30,000 homes.
Oh, wow.
Right. So you think about the give and take. That's what it looks like.
I always wonder about solar farms in Central Ohio because it's so gloomy here in the winter. But no,
we get enough sun.
It works.
Yeah.
They get enough.
Yeah.
All right. So then Anduril in Roadrunner. What is this?
All right, so Anduril obviously is such a big player in Pickaway County, but all of Ohio, when you look at the jobs it's creating with Arsenal One, their big campus down there, right? So we know Fury was their first autonomous defense technology coming off the line. That production is already starting. Now they've just announced this week they're hiring for their second production that's coming off the line called Roadrunner. And it's just like this AI thing that goes up in the air, but it has like a little nest. Anyways, there's so many components, but the big news for people here is they're now hiring again. So we're talking engineers, technicians, you name it. They're looking to hire their launch team is what they call it. You'll go out to California for the summer, train out there at the headquarters, and then by the time you come back, the second production line will be up and running and ready for people. So when we look at jobs, it was the largest job creation project in Ohio history. They mean it. They are ramping up with these jobs of more than 4,000 in the next 10 years.
They are not messing around with speed.
Wow.
No, so big news in Boomtown.
Yeah.
You'll see all that tonight when we drop on 10 TV Plus.
Yeah. What all? What other topics are we talking about tonight?
We're talking housing and something, we always hear about affordable housing. People don't realize how many of our senior citizens are aging into homelessness. And when you think about this, you work all your life, you do all the right things, yet the cost of living, insurance, it's just too much. Property taxes. And now you're like, I did everything right, but now I'm homeless. Like, how does that happen? So we really look at what are some of the solutions that are coming out to help our seniors like age in place, age where they were, giving them some tax breaks. What does it take so that we're not seeing this population grow?
Yeah.
Right. And I mean, we just had that big announcement this week that was a kind of a collaboration between the city and who else was it? Anyway, that was announced earlier this week, talking about an additional
like $1 million.
$3 million.
$3 million.
Yep.
It was a lot of money. So, yeah, a lot of things happening. I mean, if anybody has tried to buy a home or rent in Columbus, you know how expensive it is.
Yeah. Well, and that's, I think, the challenge is when we look at Boomtown Stories, right? And I know you guys have covered this with Boomtown Stories, where you look at, are we pricing people out, with all this growth? So how do we manage that?
Yeah.
It's
So,
tough.
Thank you.
Boomtown
Thanks, guys. Good to
tonight
see you.
Thank
on
you.
Boomtown tonight on 10 TV Plus. It is streams for free at 10 p.m. There's
It
a new
drops
time.
at 10.
So I'm going to pull this up real quick. This is another look back at the courtroom in that Jason Meade trial. So just got an update from Lacey Crisp in that courtroom. So we're still waiting for things to begin. So there is a pause. There's a hang up here. One juror has been dismissed out of this. Yes, a juror has been excused. So right now we just saw, so right here, who is sitting down, this is the first witness being called into this trial.
Yeah, so this is Sharon Payne, Casey's grandmother.
Right.
So they're going to start asking her questions, and she's going to, swear to tell the truth, and we're going to listen
Are
and
you
know.
employed?
I'm retired.
Who are you retired from?
Chase Bank,
What did you do at Chase Bank?
customer service.
Are you married?
I'm widowed.
What was your husband's name?
Ernest Payne Sr.
Okay. And when did he pass away?
He passed away March 23rd, 2018.
On December 4th of 2020, where were you residing?
3996 East States Place.
And how long had you lived there?
Since 2001.
Did you know an individual by the name of Casey Goodson Jr.?
I sure did. That was my grandson.
Approach the witness, Your Honor.
May?
I had it right here. Ma'am, I'm going to show you a photograph that's been marked as State's Exhibit Number 1.
Okay.
Do you recognize the individual depicted in that photograph?
I do. That's Casey, my grandson.
I'll publish this to the jury, Your Honor.
So again, this is Casey Goodson Jr.'s grandmother, Sharon Payne. She stated that she lived at the house where Casey was Goodson was killed since 2001, and they're showing her photos right now, asking her to confirm, whether that's her grandson and whatnot, and they're going to be pulling up more photos here that the entire courtroom and the jury will be able to see.
Okay. When was Casey born?
January 30th, 1997.
Okay. And where, on December 4th, 2020, where was Casey living?
With me.
Had Casey lived with you for some period of time?
Off and on, yes.
When Casey was growing up, did he live with you?
He did.
And this was before your husband passed away?
It was, yes.
Did they have a fairly close relationship?
They had a very tight bond.
Did your husband have a nickname for Casey?
Tank.
Tank?
Mm-hmm.
How did he come up with that nickname?
He was fat when he was a baby.
Okay. So he thought
What
he
you're
looked
hearing
like a
right
tank,
now,
huh?
you may think these are very simple questions that Special Prosecutor Tim Merkel is asking, but this is very strategic. This is the state trying to explain to the jurors their case step by step. So they're literally going to the very beginning, asking all of those what may seem very simple questions, but it's all a part of their plan and all about their argument in this retrial. And they're trying to avoid objections as well in this process as they're questioning the grandmother.
Because it's also important to note, a jury is supposed to know nothing about this.
Right. So they really have to go back from the very, very beginning to lay everything on the line for them. So if you're listening and you're like, oh, why is he asking if this is asking confirmation of the photo? It's literally to paint the picture step by step for the jury.
And on the record, so.
No, not at the time when he was murdered.
What were his
Overruled at this time.
What were his working hours?
He worked from 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and they had a special going on till 3 o'clock in the morning because it was during the holidays. So if they worked so many days in a row with a day off, without a day off, they got a bonus. They received a bonus.
So that was an incentive that the employer had.
Exactly.
Because it's Christmas season, it's busy season. Okay. And Casey was looking to earn that bonus.
He was.
Objection, relevance.
Overruled.
prior to working at the Gap, had Casey been working?
Yes, he went to school to get his CDLs to drive semi-truck, and he was driving semi across country.
Okay. And when did he stop doing that?
He stopped doing that. He came home for Christmas, and his mother was pregnant, and she had twins early, so he stayed there to help out with that.
Okay. And what year was that?
2020.
2000.
I'm sorry. 2020, it was 2020, yeah, when he first came home. Or it was 2019, because the twins are born in December 2019.
December of 2019?
Mm-hmm.
Back then, did you own a car?
I did.
What kind of car did you own?
2011 Nissan Versa.
Okay. And did you drive that car?
I did at times, but Casey drove it more than I did.
Okay. Was that his ride to work?
Yes, it was. Yeah.
All right. Again, you are hearing from the grandmother of Casey Goodson Jr., Sharon Payne. She is the first witness in this retrial to testify.
Yeah. So yesterday, what we heard were the opening statements from the defense and the prosecution. Today, really is our first big day of this trial, and we anticipate to hear from a lot of family members, witnesses. We know yesterday Tim Merkel, the special prosecutor, said we're going to hear from the other officer who was around at the time of this shooting, along with someone who was driving an HVAC van at that time.
So again, this could take weeks.
It could, and we expect it to.
Following it gavel to gavel.
Yeah, and you can see, so you can follow this gavel to gavel here on 10 TV Plus, but and of course we'll be talking about this here on the Big Picture as well. So
thanks for joining us for another week of the Big Picture. We love having you. Make it a great weekend.
We'll see you Monday.